It's been 28 years since my brother Yusuf and I had our Dogman encounter. We were kids, growing up in Basra, Iraq. Now, when most people think of Iraq, the first thing that comes to mind is the war, bombs over Baghdad, and more importantly, they think of desert land. But I need you to understand that there's more to my country than just dry land. Imagine the scene. I'm 13 years old, Yusuf is 17. The two of us are at the Shagan Ponds. You see, Yusuf had taken my father's truck while he was at work, and we headed over to that area to do some fishing. His girlfriend's father at that time, not only did he have cattle in that area at that time, but he also had a flatboat that he would let us use whenever we wanted to. Now, like I said before, most people think of Iraq, so they think of desert. But the ponds is really nothing more than a wetland. Shallow waters, grass, flamingos, wolves, and all the fishing that you could ever want. Now, because this water is very shallow in spots, you can't use an outboard motor. You literally have to stand on the boat with a giant pole and push yourself through the water. So Yusuf is at the back of the boat, pushing us through the water. We find a spot, drop our lines, and start catching fish. I think we stayed in that spot for a good 30 minutes when he decided to move on. Now, the two of us are moving into this very, very isolated area of the ponds. Yusuf wanted to go there because he said the fishing was better in that area. But there was a reason why people didn't go to this isolated area of the ponds. According to everybody else who had visited this same area, once you got there, things were fine and the fishing was good until things went extremely bad. Now, the problem that we had was that nobody really explained exactly what they meant by things going bad. But boy, were we about to find out. Now, we've been sitting in this area for over an hour, filling the boat up with fish. Out of nowhere, and I mean out of nowhere, these three gigantic wild boars come charging in our direction. 200 to 250 pound wild boars, us on this small flat boat in a marsh, we were absolutely no match for them. These boars are charging in our direction full speed, and the next thing you know, we hear this growl coming from our right hand side. Unlike any growl I've ever heard in my entire life. And I need you to understand something. My brother and I spent a lot of our time outdoors, hunting and fishing. Well, we hear that growl and those three boars take this sharp left turn away from us. And that's when this wolf emerges from the grass. Understand, we do have wolves in this area. They get to be 100, 120 pounds. But this thing that we were looking at, oh no, this looked nothing like the wolves that we had seen. This animal rises out of the grass and it's 9 times bigger than the average wolf in our area, and it takes off running on all fours after these hogs. Remember, the two of us are in this boat. Its motion, headed in the direction of those boars, send waves through the water, damn near knocking my brother off the boat. We're watching it move through the water on all fours, and then it stands up and runs on its back 2 legs. And just so you understand how terrifying this encounter was, that wolf was less than 45 feet away from us, laying in the marsh. We watch as it runs one of those hogs down on its hind 2 legs, swiping at its neck, killing it, picking it up, and starts to eat it. Now, understand, we're about 70 yards away from a monster in broad daylight. We have no engine on this boat, so now my brother Yusuf literally has to use that pole to push us away from the area. Talk about literally the most terrifying 45 minutes of my life, backing away from this animal. When we finally returned that boat to his girlfriend's father, instantly he knew something was wrong. He looked at the number of fish that we had in the boat and immediately asked us had we gone to the forbidden area. That's when Yusuf told him what we saw, and he went on to explain to us that that area of the ponds is known for having werewolves, wolves that walk on their hind 2 legs like a human being. Her father goes on to explain to us that they come down from the mountains to hunt in the ponds, and as long as you don't get in the way of their food, they won't turn you into food. However, then he goes on to tell us the stories of the other fishermen who went to the area and never came back. Understand, me, my father, and Yusuf have been fishing in those ponds since I was a 9-year-old little boy, and we had never ever seen anything like this. And had we known that a creature like that even existed in that area, there's no way that we would have ever went into those ponds.